This is the first live music news and review podcast. We're out of Amherst, Massachusetts, and today I've got Zach Deputy with me. Thank you so much for joining.
Glad to be here.
And you are in Savannah right now, right?
Savannah, GA.
That's awesome. I've been there once. It's gorgeous.
That's pretty nice. It's nice to be in shorts and a t-shirt at this time of year, you know?
You're echoing a little bit. Yeah, it's a lot nicer than it is here. That's for sure.
Yeah, I bet.
You got quite a setup there.
Yeah. In the cave.
So I'm just going to get into it. I wanted to just introduce you to the blab community and ask you some basic questions. Why don't you just start by telling us your background in your music and some of your influences and, you know, how you would describe your music.
I've never been good at describing my music. My background kind of helps. One side of the family was very Puerto Rican and the other side of the family was redneck. So I consider myself kind of a redneck Puerto Rican. And I grew up listening to a lot of Latin music on my mom's side, a lot of calypso, salsa, and Afro-Cuban and stuff like that. And my dad listened to soul music and kind of grew up in the woods in South Carolina. So kind of always liked that deep down, rural, rich soul sound. And that's kind of been my signature throughout my career, I guess. I don't know exactly what I do, because when I tell people what I do and then they come see it, they're never really expected to hear what they heard, because they were like, oh, I thought this or I thought that, and then I look a certain way and I sound way different. So I'm kind of an anomaly, I guess.
I hear it in your music. I don't know if I agree with that at all.
Yeah. I don't know how to describe it though.
Well, why don't you not describe it? Why don't you show it to us, and then we can talk about it instead.
Play some noise. Is it coming through good now?
It is. It's great.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna mute myself.
All right.
Little more, I'm getting on down in New Orleans. You can't just sit there by me. I'm born in Georgia, thought I told ya, yeah. Then I might go down to California, babe. What you really know about me? Gotta put it in the bucket. Tell me, mama. Put it in the bucket. Won't you tell me, baby? Put it in the bucket. Tell me, mama. Bucket, baby. What you really know about me? What you know about me? What you know about me, baby? What you know about me? Living out of sight, but on my mind, I got the funky flavor. Time after time, it's in the soul, just who I am. Can't help myself, little bit again and again. Yeah, getting on down in New Orleans. Kansas City, by all means. What you really know about me? Down in Georgia, thought I told you. What you really know about me? Still making my quarter out of California, mama. What you really know about me? Better put it in the boogie. Put it in the boogie. Put it in the. Put it in the boogie, mama. What do you really know about me? Better put it in the. This is the new rent. This is a garage song at the door. That'll have that flavor of the slimmer, mama, like I said before. Can't help myself when I do my thing. Gotta make it flow. Gotta make it sing. Getting on down into New Orleans. What do you really know about me? Say Kansas City, follow me. What do you really know about me? I'm a raised in Georgia. Thought I saw the baby. What do you really know about me? I'm making my quarter out of California, mama. What do you really know about me? Baby, put it in the bucket. Tell me, mama. Baby, put it in the bucket. Tell me, mama. Won't you put it in the bucket? Yeah, tell me, baby. Put it in the bucket, yeah. What do you really know about me? What do you know about me? What do you know about me? What do you know about me? I say what they really know about, what they really know about me. What they know about me, baby. Now what they know about me. What they know about me. What they really know about.
Hey, that was awesome. How did you get into the looping style? Like, where did that come from? Tell me all about that.
Well, it was all an accident. I never really tried to get into it. I just kind of like stumbled into it. When I was probably 14, I started making beats because I used to do hip hop stuff a lot. And I started making beats in different programs like Acid Pro and Music Maker, and really just cheap programs to make beats and stuff, and made quite a few albums back then. And even before that, even before I started making beats, which are all like loop-based stuff, I used to take, I don't know if you remember these, but back in the day, they used to sell those cassette tape deck karaoke machines with 2 tape decks. Mm-hmm. Everybody used to have one. You could plug a microphone into it and sing in it, and buy the songs. But there was a play side and there was a record side. And I used to put a tape in the record side and record like a beatbox for like 3 minutes, like. And then after about 3 minutes, I'd come back and I'd grab my bass and I would lay down a bass for 3 minutes on top of it, like. And then after that was done, I would come back and I would take that tape deck, put it in the play side, press play, and then put another one in the record side and put guitar on top, and then I would sing on top. And I actually had like boxes and boxes of records that I had made when I was younger. And I didn't do it. I never showed anybody. I was actually embarrassed about it. But I loved doing it. And so I actually was doing looping before even was referred to what looping was. I didn't even know what it was. I'd probably already been doing it close to a decade before I actually knew it was called looping.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's quite creative.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool hobby to have as a kid.
Yeah, it's make it however you can do it. It's kind of out of necessity. When you grow up in the woods, you just make best out of what you got when you have it. And if all it is a karaoke machine, then I'm still gonna make an album. Might not be great, but
technology advances, and look at you now.
Exactly.
A little different.
Anything to facilitate getting the sounds out of my head and into other people's earlobes.
Yeah. What are some of the biggest influences on your music, both musically and in your songwriting?
I never touch base of my songwriting because I give it all in the song and I don't like to relive it outside of the song. It's my whole reason for song is to tell something to somebody that's so deep that I normally wouldn't want to tell them, you know. Um, but as far as influence, like technically, I huge fan of all, you know, soul and gospel music. Ray Charles is a huge inspiration growing up. Um, Tito Puente was just a huge inspiration rhythmically, just because his band was just so unstoppable. Same thing with James Brown. I mean, the rhythms and the groove and the pocket of James, his band is just unprecedented, you know. So that was a huge influence to me. I like old stuff, like old '40s music,
Mm.
and was really big into jazz when I was in high school and stuff. But nothing really contemporary. All the stuff that I really love is old, but I was very heavily influenced, not even trying to be, just by growing up in the, you know, in the 90s. I think made a big impact on me. And if you hear like a lot of the beats that I do, it's like,
Mhm.
you know, that's the 90s right there, you know.
Yeah.
And so even though I never put that stuff on like and listen to it like anymore, it's still a big part of my sound too, because it's just like put a marker on growing up and you just can't get the rhythms out of your head, you know. It becomes part of you. And I mean, that's what music is. Music is everything that was in the past that you take together, you put into your own goulash, your own way to serve it, the way that resonates most with you, and then you package that, and then people from the next generation take that and they carry it on, you know. But it's fun stuff.
You're echoing a little, but hopefully that'll go away.
Sorry.
Um,
Yep.
so you're working with a band now. You're working with the hashtags, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, totally.
so that seems like that would have some new freedoms and new limitations. Like, how is that?
So totally. It's a different box to live in. I guess, you know, when I'm doing the loop thing, you know, I'm limited to what a looper can do, and I have to stay within the means of that. And it's way more groove orientated. I want to make a heavy groove, and I want to base everything around that groove, pulling in and out that groove. And you can do a lot of things, but I guess the limitations to that is if you want to play a movement. And what a movement is, like in a classical progression, it never stops changing. In a groove, it can stay the same, and it's all about how deep that groove is, and really loving the groove so much you just want it over and over and over again. And which I will always love, because I'm so groove. I love everything that grooves. The music that I like is all groove-based music, but I do like to be able to have a movement. And with a band, you can have a movement, and so you can take it and make a groove, but you can also go out of that groove and go far away and then bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's harder to do that within the loop machine. So, you know, that's kind of where the band shines.
Yeah.
But I can't just do anything with the band like off the cuff.
Yeah.
When I do the loop stuff, I can just go anywhere. I'm like, you know, I want to sound like a mariachi band. Let's go. I don't have to communicate it with anybody. I just make the decision and roll, you know. And
So, Chicken Jam asked who put down the bass line in the hashtags in PA.
The bass lines are all done by Matt Ziner. He plays organ and left-hand bass at the same time. The way the hashtag record was recorded, me, Bill Carbone on drums, Matt on bass and organ at the same time, me on guitar, all that stuff was recorded live, the vocals, everything. There was no overdubs when it comes to the drummer, me as a vocalist, me as a guitarist, or him as a keyboard player. It was all recorded live. All my vocals were recorded through a 58, a Shure 58 live. And then we came back and we did the backup vocals and the horns afterwards. But it's really a cool album because it's so not overproduced. It's all very natural. All the solos are the actual solos we played when we played the song. We didn't, beat anything to death. It's like real music because we really played it. We didn't try to like produce it to be this most perfect thing. We let it be natural and beautiful with all of its imperfections. It's perfect sort of deal.
Speaking of albums, you just recorded one.
Yes. Well, we just recorded one a few months ago. It's going to be out hopefully before March. We're hoping to have a few, maybe 1,000 or 2,000 CDs before it comes out for people who come out to shows. But other than that, we're going to try to put it out by March. But it's Zach Deputy and the Hashtags' first album. It's going to be called Keep On Moving. So
tell us again about the album, okay?
Well, the album was recorded over 2 days. So we didn't really, I didn't even expect to record the album, to be honest. Matt and Bill were like, "Hey, come over to the studio. Let's hang out. Let's see what happens. Let's record a couple songs for fun." And I went over there. I didn't write any of the stuff for the album beforehand. I ended up writing 7 songs, recreating an old song that I wrote, merging a song of mine and a Bob Marley song for like a little cover or smash up, and then doing a bizarre cover of The Police. And it kind of made it up all in those 2 days while we recorded it. So it happened really fast. And at the end of the 2 days, we listened to the tracks and we're like, man, this stuff is really good. We should put it on an album. So it's kind of an album by accident, And then after that, we decided to put horns on it. And then it was pretty much it.
Great. So that's coming out sometime before March?
We're thinking in March. Yeah. A lot of new things happening right now. We're making the push for March and hoping to have a soft release before that where people can get discs maybe starting in January if they find us while they last sort of deal. And then really push for that March date to pump it out. And I already have another album done behind that, but I don't really want to talk about that yet because let's let that one get out.
That's fine.
But I've been in kind of a 3-year stint with not putting out any records because the last record I put out, it just under the business arrangement I was in, don't want to go too into depth. It just really dug a big hole in my financial world, and I couldn't afford to actually make another album until I was out of all that, and that just happened like 6 months ago. So I'm free to make more music now for the world.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Great. So why don't you play us some more music? Any previews, maybe?
Anything that's going to be on the album?
Well, you don't have to.
I'll do.
Just a thought.
I'll do like a rendition of the Funky Police song.
All right. Cool.
Okay.
I said I'm walking back from your house, just walking on the moon. moon. Walking back from your house, baby. Walking on the moon. We could walk forever. Walking on the moon. We could walk together, baby. Walking on the moon. Yeah, yeah. Walking on the moon. Yeah, yeah. Walking on the moon. Yeah, yeah. Walking on the moon. Little bit of a giant steps is what you take. Walking on the moon. I hope my man don't break. Walking on the moon. We could walk together. Walking on the moon. We could walk forever, baby. Walking on the moon. Walking on the moon, baby. Mm-hmm. Walking on the moon. Walking on the moon, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Some say I'm wasting my days away, baby. Today, living the price I pay now, mama. Some say maybe I'll play the fool. Maybe I'll play the fool. Maybe I'll play the fool. I love. Said I may well play the fool. Baby, walking back from your house, walking on the moon. Walking back from your house, baby, walking on the moon. We go walk together, walking on the moon. We go walk forever, baby, walking on the moon. Hey, walking on the moon, my love. Hey, walking on the moon. Hey, walking on the moon, my love. Hey, walking on the moon. 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 Mm-hmm, yeah, baby.
I think I saw a rendition of that on YouTube. Very cool.
Probably. Yeah, I made it. I think I made it up the weekend that we went to Telluride last year.
Mhm, I like it very much. Very cool.
Yeah, fun stuff.
Very fun stuff. So, you know, I'm in Massachusetts, right?
Yeah,
So I have to ask about Wormtown.
totally.
So tell me about Wormtown.
Wormtown was the first festival I actually ever played. Funny enough, because
When was that?
I want to say it was 2007.
Yeah. Wow.
And it might have been 2007. It was my first festival I've ever played, and not far behind it, I played Bear Creek,
Mhm.
which is funny because those two are still my two favorite festivals. But it was really special to me. It was the first place where I actually had the feelings like, hey, I could do this, because I was not well traveled when I was young. I pretty much stuck around the Southeast and only the Southeast, about an hour and a half radius from Savannah to Charleston, and then maybe Columbia. That would be wild going that far.
Mhm.
And I just didn't travel, and then I did really, really well in those areas. And I started to blow up there really well, and it got the attention of a lot of different people. And I finally got an agent because I figured I needed an agent on the run that I was going to go up north, because I booked myself in Hilton Head, South Carolina, Quebec, Canada, and then down in Florida. And I'm like, my routing's a little bad, you know, I can do that in 5 days. So I got an agent and paid him a retainer to book me gigs. And he happened to be from up in Vermont, and he had a bunch of bands on Wormtown. They brought me up there, and I played the small stage, the second stage, Fernville, out in the woods, and went over really well. You know, when I first started playing, it's like 150 people, and I met Mark from Wormtown.
Oh no, you're gonna have to come back.
Kind of met kind of ironically, and I didn't know where to park, and I was really tired, and we were in the RV that I had at the time, and nobody could tell me where to park, and so I tried to park it. I didn't know, nobody was there with a coherent mind to tell me where to park, and I parked right in front of the stage unknowingly. I found out first thing in the morning, about 9 in the morning, when Mark was banging on my door. Mark Blanchett, the guy who runs Wormtown. He's a great dear friend of me now, but I didn't know Mark at all. And he's just banging. He's like, "Hey, what you doing here?" And he's banging on my door. I'm like, "Oh," I was like, "I don't know what's up. I'm trying to sleep, man." He's like, "You're parked right in front of the stage." I looked at the stage. I'm like, wow, I was literally like 2 feet from it, the front end. So I had to go and park, and that was my introduction to Mark. But after I played that Verneville set, they were really stoked. They were like, "We had a cancellation tomorrow. If you could come back and play, that'd be awesome." And I'm like, "I can come back and play. I just had to go." And I think wanted me to come back Sunday and play, and I had a gig on that Saturday in Utica.
Oh my God.
So we went to head to Utica, and I, was not well traveled at this time. We were still trying to use like paper maps and stuff, and we went to drive to Utica, and instead of staying on 90, we stayed on 87 North because they merge it at a point, and the exits were about the same. Like we were like, oh, any moment now. I can't remember what exit was, like 121, and then we kind of came past, and it wasn't there, the exit we were looking for, and like, what's happening? And then we saw this sign. It said last exit before Canada. And I was like, I think we went the wrong way. Long story short, we totally, it was an opening slot in Utica. So it would have took us 4 hours to get there, and we would have needed to be there in 2 hours to make our set. So we missed that gig. I literally drove 8 hours out of the way to drive 8 hours back, it seemed, to get back to Wormtown to play my other show that I could make. And but by that time, I guess everybody who saw my show before went and told everybody, and they told me it was the biggest show they've ever had at Verneville.
Really?
Out there. Yeah, it was just a zoo, and just like for me as an artist, it just meant so much to see like that many people come support me that didn't know me before, just because they loved what was happening. And it really gave me a big push. And so people are like, why is Wormtown so special to you? It's like, it's kind of like your first love, you never forget it. And like, you never forget that feeling that you have when people actually are connecting with what you're doing. And as an artist, that's what you're seeking for more than anything, is just to be understood,
Yeah.
And so
that's such a great story. Thank you for sharing it.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Are you up for maybe one more song, and then we'll finish, or are you?
Totally. Yeah, I'm down.
Cool. Why don't we do that, and then we'll wrap up. Okay.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll make it through internet wise.
Yeah. Hopefully we won't go black again. I'm gonna sing you guys an acoustic number. I say stop, smell the roses. You can use your noses. It's so close, it's just beyond the gate. I say stop, smell the roses. A figure of speech, I suppose, is far more literal than we originally think. Yeah, stop and smell the roses with me. I've seen days shine, I've seen nights that seem to fly by.
still reminds why life is never bleak. But I keep on shining until I'm finding the silver lining that is lying underneath. Don't stop, smell the roses of me. I never thought I'd be living life so free and tangled in your blanket of love. But in the dawning hour, light shining power makes the flowers start rising up, rising up. I say stop, smell the roses. You can use your noses. It's so close, it's just beyond the gate. I say stop, smell the roses. A figure of speech, I suppose, is far more literal than we originally think. Yeah, just stop, smell the roses with me. With me. No, no, with me. Yeah, stop, smell the roses with me.
Thank you. So where can people see you coming up soon?
Well, I think our next show is on the way to catch our flight to Mexico. We're going to be in Jupiter, Florida, and then we're going to be in Mexico with our friends from Slightly Stupid down there for Closer to the Sun. That's going to be a blast. So y'all should check that out if you want to get some warmth in the middle of the cold season.
Okay.
And then we come back and we do Jam Cruise because life has been really tough this winter so far. You know, we need to go relax a little bit more. And then right after Jam Cruise, we rush out to the West Coast to do a 3-week run with the Expendables, our buddies. So keep on the lookout for that. And then after that, I don't know. My brain is kind of mush as far as the dates go.
Well, you're coming to the Northeast too. You're going to be at Toads.
Oh, I am going to be at Toads. We have 2 dates, and I think those are the last days we're playing there until we go up for Wormtown. So
Strange Creek. Yep.
Strange Creek. Sorry, I'm dyslexic when it comes to those 2. But yeah, that's the only date we have in the Northeast. Until then, so hopefully everybody comes out and sees us there at Toads. I believe that's the 2nd, isn't it? 2nd of January, if I'm correct.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. So
cool.
It's gonna be fun.
Well, I'm not sure I'll make it to Toads, but I will see you at Strange Creek.
For sure, I'll see you there. That'll be fun.
Yeah. And thank you so much for taking the time to do this today.
Totally. Yeah.
It was really great.
Glad to hang out. No, good to hang out with you, Kara.
Bearing with the technology, it was cool. And
I'm not good at it. You know, my setup would tell otherwise, but I'm not.
Well, it was, it's blab is in its infantile stages so far. It's
I'm your first, right?
Data. I have another podcast, Engage Your Fan Base. I do a music marketing and publicity podcast as well on Blab, on my own Twitter handle at Kara Karma. But this is the first one for live music news and review. So Thank you very much for being our inaugural guest.
Pleasure. My pleasure.
Really appreciate it. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Much love. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Take care.